Hi, and thank you for being here today. I want to thank the E2E Virtualization Conference attendees for attending the session. And let's get started with Go Hybrid, Applications, Profiles, and Data, on-prem and in the cloud. I'm David Bieneman, CEO and co-founder from Liquidware. And today I'm going to present you this presentation, give you a demonstration, and be around afterwards if we want to do some questions and answers and conversation for the next day and a half. So we all know there's a lot of investment on the back end and on the endpoint from the user and any network. The value of that user-authored data that they produce and that they consume is huge. And to operate, we know the user needs certain valuable resources to be always available. They use these resources every day to get their job done. Things are not working right, and then you can't get your job done. And it's likely you're having a bad day or a poor experience, to say the least. So why is it then that the persona, the apps, the data, the policy is only an afterthought, usually after a platform or a direction is chosen? Then everyone wonders all of a sudden, how are we going to migrate? Should we script it with USMT, get the persona off that way, take the good parts out with USMT? Really, you're taking the whole thing with USMT, right? Or do we start over with persona then and just grab the data? Maybe scripting processes to copy the data from the local machine over to some central repository or try to get it up to the cloud somehow. And then when we do it over again, do we do it the same way as we did before so that we have to go through this whole process next time there's an upgrade or a platform change? Or do we use the platform vendor's built-in tools that are just about good enough, and then once we start to scale, we realize we can't scale? Or worse, we're locked into this platform, and now we've got to, again, do it all over again with the user persona, the apps, and try to get that data out and over to the new platform. The hardware changes, the operating system changes, the applications change. The user experience is often negatively affected. And then we know there must be a better way to migrate this data, migrate this life cycle, migrate these key resources that these users use, other than rolling forward all the practices of yesterday and, again, starting over every time. We can modernize the management, harvesting key resources, leaving the junk behind, streamlining the process, so next time you're not thinking of how to preserve the user's experience, you just manage that user at scale on the platform of choice. Despite the churn of hardware, operating system, user persona changes, app changes, security policy changes, despite that, we can take that process, modernize it, harvest the key resources, again, leave the junk behind, streamline the processes so the user's experience is not negatively affected when there's a platform or an OS change. We're not saying to redo all your policies and procedures. Again, we're saying to harvest the investment and manage at scale. We're not saying to leave behind all your existing investment, not at all. We want to harvest that investment and manage at scale. With this desktop transformation, that's exactly what you're going to be able to do. We want to enable many levels of administrators to participate, to be involved, not just the sharp scripting or the VDI or cloud experts. We want to enable those desktop administrators that used to support the desktop to support the desktop again. How do we do that? Well, we go through the desktop transformation, and that's not migrating to VDI. We have to transform that desktop and those legacy processes. It means adopting newer and better ways to do things. You know, we're not just migrating over to VDI, as we all know. If we just do that, VDI can go badly without a proper desktop transformation. And migration's a good time. It's a great time to implement a solution like ours. And a lot of companies in the migration process, they're looking for help. How do we get to our next platform, right? Help us not to go through this all the time and have this negative user experience. So we need to educate these clients on the benefits of the user and the application portability, the user and the application visibility, how to harvest those resources, dynamically redeploy them the modern way versus the traditional way, right? The new way, or the transformation, the desktop transformation. So the transformation to tangible, that's what we're doing, right? VDI is just another option after you undergo Liquidware or another type of desktop transformation with some other solutions that could do the same thing, right? Give you that portability of the application, the data, the visibility behind it all, right? The portable policy, the follow me policy. Once you implement those things, then you're elevating those core resources and you're making them tangible, right? For instance, if you want to get inside the machine and touch the user's persona, really, it's difficult. You can't. It's scattered all over. It's in registry. It's in file systems, combination of those, locked up with permissions. However, we can harvest that persona, make it portable, so you can back it up, optimize it, measure it, optimize it again, and then manage it at scale. Same thing with those apps. Same thing with that policy. So you can manage those things, make them portable, measure them, optimize them, and manage it with scale. So out goes the monolithic desktop then, right? The old way of doing things, or the traditional way, let's say. Liquidware, we're elevating those parts that matter the most. The persona, the applications, the data, the policy. Remember, persona, that's the user, right? It's the user's settings, things they set up on their desktop. That's a lot of investment that goes in by them. If they don't have that next time, it's a real negative experience. The apps, those are used to author and consume the data. The policy around that desktop operation, that dictates the security and the experience behind the user's day-to-day work. These are the most important resources on your compute platform. Your people, your data, the policy that delivers and protects that data, right? That app and that experience. Visibility into those key resources so that you can optimize them. Keep that user's experience high. How do you do that again? We have to decouple those pieces from that monolithic desktop and those monolithic legacy or traditional processes. And by doing that, we can manage those through churn and manage those at scale. So this is really an essential job, right? Because, again, these are first-class citizens with our messaging, with our products, with our people. At Liquidware here, we're up-leveling what matters the most. We're raising the important resources of yours, your customers, to first-class citizens versus an afterthought. Just as we've said and done for a long time, we decouple, we transform these resources from the desktop, the monolithic model, and we manage them together. We harvest these resources and make them portable, creating a well-managed user application data policy strategy. A great strategy. Strategy that captures and deploys based on policy, that delivers visibility. And in doing that, we improve the user's experience every time they use their desktop to author and consume data. We strengthen the organization's ability to be secure. We strengthen their security posture. Who wants to be locked into an old device with old software and old ways of doing things? We don't want to be locked into a platform. We want to be able to take advantage of better technology when it's available, when a lower cost solution becomes available, when a more secure solution becomes available, right? We don't want to go to jail, go directly to jail, do not pass go. We want to be able to leverage the technology that's here today instead of being tied into the traditional monolithic technology of yesterday. So we've developed a solution to harvest and deploy those most important resources. Again, treating them as first-class citizens, transforming you from yesterday's monolithic desktop to essentially managed, fluid, portable, optimized experience. Once an organization's transformed, they're able to use the best of breed technology, right? The new delivery methods, and manage at scale. Manage the operation of their user, apps, data, and policy across many different delivery mechanisms at the same time. Across many delivery methods at the same time. That's your get out of jail free card, right? The market's looking for this knowledge and these solutions and the ability to be able to choose their own destiny. And that's what we're offering. How about the built-in checkbox? Is that smart? What happens when you use the platform vendors? What happens when you use the platform vendors' built-in solutions for your users' apps data policy to manage those resources? What if you don't want to stay on Citrix or VMware? Great platforms, but what if you want to move from one to the other? What if you want to move from one of those to DAS? What about different DAS providers, right? What about when they start to come at you with specials and opportunities and lower cost solutions and more secure solutions, solutions that offer different levels of SLA that you want to partake from, different pricing models? Are you going to have to start over again each time with your user persona? Make sure you can harvest it out, or just restart over altogether, make the user do all the work again on their endpoint, setting everything up? You're going to have to repackage all your applications into the next flavor for the next platform. How about performing data migration? You have to do all that over again and set your policy again. Go to all your different organizational units and go ahead and set up your group policy so it's the same across all those different organizational units in the group policy structure. How about instead implementing something like Liquidware Essentials? A fluid, non-friction solution that works across platform, simplifies the management of the user's persona, simplifies the management of the user's applications and their data, delivering and enhancing the user experience at the same time. You know, we're raising the user, the application, the data, the policy to first-class citizenship, allowing you to harvest these resources and run them across multiple delivery mechanisms at the same time. Let me give you an example of how we do that. Profile Unity. It provides profile portability, so we can copy and harvest pieces of the profile from one user and one platform and inject it into another, same user, another platform with our portability, right? Where we look at the files, the registry, basically copy them off, and then redeploy them on demand, on login, log out, and also scheduled intervals. And we have our profile disk, which that's where the profile sits and can remain in a high speed. We don't move it around. It's on that profile disk. The profile disk is a follow me. It attaches to where you're logging in at. We have both of those technologies, right? So we have best of breed product that actually has two profile storage technologies, where the other competition, they only have one. They either have portability or maybe they have a profile disk. We leverage both because both are important to be able to use the different operating systems and to be able to keep that user experience consistent across. How about Follow Me VHDs and Follow Me VMDKs? We offer both of those. How about admin rights management, where we can configure our console to only let certain users add shortcuts, drives, and printers, or certain administrators add shortcuts, drives, and printers. Only let certain administrators implement Flex apps. Only let certain administrators use the rights elevation module. And when those administrators are using that role-based access, we record the changes they make. So that's change auditing. So when there's a change being made, somebody makes a change and maybe it positively or negatively affects the environment, you can go look and see what that was that made the environment sing along faster or made the environment have some difficulty, and you know you need to roll that back. How about multiple profile archives? When the user logs out, we can save multiple copies of their profile so that in the event of a problem, you can roll back 4 or 5 copies back. Or how about saving out to multiple clouds? You can save to your on-prem profile storage. Then at the same time, when you'd like, you can save to the on-prem and many cloud environments. So you have staging for DAS, staging for DR, let's say, staging for DAS when you're ready to move to a cloud environment. How about Flex App, out-of-band application delivery? No messing with an image, no having specialized image management specialists that are Citrix specialists, only ones that are able to qualify to install the applications in the image because of fear of breaking other applications. No need to schedule that downtime to take that image offline. No need to recompose that image or have a special process to get that image set back up so it doesn't contain a personality, because that's the worst thing, right? When your image has a personality, a little bit different than another image, right? So FlexApp, out-of-band application delivery. Nothing goes in the image. Nothing gets tattooed in the image or the machine. Nothing gets tattooed or saved in the file or registries. Any administrator, any desktop administrator that used to perform application installs that now can't do it anymore, or actually sits with the Citrix admin or the VMware admin, and they both together update the image. Well, now that desktop administrator again, and any desktop administrator can simply package an app, attach it via FlexApp to a running instance of XenApp or VMware, and could be a cloud environment, could be a physical machine. Test the app, and if the application works, check a box and roll it to the user acceptance testing team. And if it works for them, check a box and roll it out to the entire audience. And never have broken that image open, possibly damaging the image or giving it a personality. Never having to do that. Never having to schedule that. Cuts a lot of red tape. How about the ability for FlexApp to connect apps at boot and at login and click to layer, meaning on demand. When the user double clicks it, then the app's connected in. Phenomenal features. That last one, click to layer, allows us to take applications and publish them to XenApp servers and RDSH, where that app doesn't exist when you first set up the application publishing rule, or when you set up the rule inside Studio to access an app onto a XenApp server and you want to make that a published app. You know, if that's a layer, how do you publish that layer? The layer doesn't exist, right? No, if nobody's logged in that box, how are you going to publish that layer? Click to layer allows you to do that. You publish FlexApp executable with a path to the XML. User goes and clicks in, user logs in to Citrix and they see the application on their screen in their web browser. They click the icon. That app is instantly layered to that server that never had the app installed inside the image. What about FlexApp's micro isolation? What's let you mix and match layers, right? Others have wanted to, other technologies out there have claimed that they're going to be able to attach different layers at runtime. We're actually doing that, mixing and matching layers with micro isolation. When there's two files that conflict, two different versions of a DLL, the DLL that the application needs is the only DLL that application sees, right? That's our micro isolation. And then session isolation. Two users on our RDSH box or a XenApp box. One user has access to an app like Photoshop. The other user's not supposed to. So that other user can't see it. If they browse program files, there's no Photoshop folder there. They can't see that at all. And then Stratosphere, delivering visibility of users, apps, network, hops, login, display, all the key components that make up for good user experience. You know, you need to know the username. You need to know the application name, process names, the version, maybe the installed path, the command line arguments. You need to know about the network quality, the latency, right? Maybe the hops in between, the jitter. You want to know about the login, but detailed login, not just, you know, how long was the group policy or how long was, you know, the roaming profile or something like that. You need to know more about what events we're running, right? What DCs we're hitting, what are the names of the policies that we were running, so we can know what policies might be slowing us down. We can move those from profile, move those out of group policy into profile unity. The display protocol, we want to know detailed HDX or PCO IP or blast information, right? RDS, RDP, RFX information. And that's what will give you all the key user experience KPIs built into Stratosphere. It doesn't monitor the whole data center. It monitors the user, app, network, hops, the things related to the user experience on server-based computing system. And it measures those for all users all the time, right? So when some problem happened and the user waited 20 minutes to call into the help desk or 5 or 10 minutes, you can go back 5, 10 minutes, an hour, and whatever the case may be, and see exactly what happened and what built up to the call versus trying to get into a machine that they're maybe on right now. The problem doesn't exist anymore, or if it still does exist, maybe the machine's so locked up you can't even access it remotely, right? So Stratosphere collects all these things all the time, gives you that historic view widely across your organization, across all those users, and lets you dive into specific users, of course, and look at recent time frames and when the problem happened. And remember, this happens for the user, the app, the data, the policy that we're raising to first-class citizens, allowing you to harvest these resources, run them across multiple delivery mechanisms, and have this profile, application, and visibility across Amazon, Citrix, Google, Microsoft, physical, virtual, all at the same time. So a very mixed environment. You know, there's a lot of mixed environments out there. Think acquisitions, the mix of technology that they inherit. When a lower cost solution becomes available, they want to use that possibly. When a new feature set becomes available to allow for more content delivery, administrators, CIOs want to use that new feature set or that new platform. And many need to still support legacy applications, of course. There's a lot of legacy applications out there. So there's a very mixed environment. A little bit of VMware, a little bit of Citrix, right? You might have some XenApp. You might have some new VMware because it was lower cost. You might have acquired an organization that has some Xen Desktop. Now you've got a mixed environment. You got some physicals, of course. So we're turning these desktops into commodity. So it doesn't matter what delivery mechanism that you have. So you have the same type of profile, application, and visibility across the infrastructure. A strategy that you can use any provider or any combination of delivery mechanisms for your user application and data. We're allowing our clients to move users and applications to other compute platforms without having to start over. Right? That's an admin lifesaver, right? It's an end user lifesaver. We're allowing them to run multiple platforms at the same time, eliminating platform lock-in. Right? That's a very compelling advantage, wouldn't you say? And with security issues rampant, companies are going to continue to migrate to VDI, migrate to DAS, and so we're just helping enable being able to treat that environment and those desktops as a commodity. You just go grab one off the shelf and log into it, and you're going to get your persona, your applications, your data, and the visibility into those, right? And so organizations are moving, and they're moving for many reasons. They're moving from physical to VDI. They're moving from VDI to DAS. They're moving from VDI to VDI sometimes, right? They're moving from XenApp to XenApp version sometimes, right? DAS to DAS eventually. Just consider the security implications of a lost laptop with data. How many companies are going to be wanting to move those apps and those data into a session remoting technology, right? Take your pick, too. There's many options out there. Think about cell phone providers, mobile phone providers, right? They'll buy your contract out in order just to get you to switch over. And I don't doubt that's a strategy that cloud vendors are going to eventually use. We're enabling that to happen by genericizing that desktop and turning it into the commodity. You can easily move from one vendor to another at your leisure. Let me give you a demonstration. Let's take a look at this Profile Unity configuration. One of our platform vendors asked us if we can give them a brief demonstration of how we can run on the Google Cloud platform, including storing profiles and applications on Google Cloud Storage. We're going to give you an idea of how it looks in Profile Unity and how it looks in the back end of the Google Cloud Storage, and then also how it performs. Let me show you how easy it is to add a configuration. Click Create, click Guided Setup, select the drop-down, and choose your profile. This makes it much easier to get started, and then you can add advanced settings when you're completed. In this section, you assign cloud storage credentials. Here, we're going to use the Google credentials. This top portion is for the console to access and save policy. The bottom portion is for the client to access profiles and applications. Let's take a look at this configuration in more detail. Clicking Configuration Management and then selecting the configuration will bring you into the details of this configuration. Let's take a look at the portability settings. These are the registry and file settings that will be saved from the user, and they'll be stored to where the save path denotes. Each one of these entries is registry and file settings that will be saved into its own archives on the Google Cloud Storage platform in the following location: lw-profileunity-portability/%username. Now remember, these are saved on Google Cloud Storage as individual archives for easy modification of the user's profile. Now let's take a look at what applications are deployed to the test users in this configuration. The first rule assigns Google Chrome and Google Drive to all the users. The second rule assigns Notepad, VLC, and Audacity to demo user 1. And the third rule assigns Foxit Reader 9, Photoshop, and Snagit to demo user 2. These are hard-coded rules right now for demo user 1 and 2, but you could use a variety of context-aware filters to dynamically assign apps to different types of users depending upon context of location, IP address, etc. So you've seen some portability rules for the user's persona, registry, and file system that will be harvested and saved to the Google Cloud Storage. You've also seen some Flex apps that will be delivered to the users from the Google Cloud Storage. Let's go take a look at the back end of the Google Cloud Storage and how this appears. This is a look at the GCS bucket details. You've got the Profile Unity license and the Profile Unity policy file stored right here, along with the Flex app folder if you dive in the FlexApp folder, these are the Flex apps that can be delivered to the user. This is a look at the Photoshop application. Its VHD file, its icon, its XML file that are staged to be delivered to the user on demand. Notice this is a bucket, LWL Profile Unity Configs, FlexApp, Photoshop. There are similar buckets for LWL Profile Unity Portability, and then of course the username for the user's persona. Now let's take a look at what these Flex apps look like in the FlexApp console. Here you've got 2 pages of applications. On the first page you've got some applications that we saw we were delivering out to the user. If I click Create an Application, I can fill in a package name and pick my storage. Is it going to be FlexDisk, on-prem? Is it going to be cloud storage? If it's cloud storage, I pick my credentials. After I enter my credentials, I can modify my cloud storage path if it's different. Pick the size of the VHD and if it's expandable or not. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward GUI to set up your applications in the cloud storage location. Liquidware supports Azure Blob, Google Cloud Storage, and AWS S3 out of the box. Notice that there's 2 Notepad++'s here, and one of them has a Liquidware logo at the bottom right of the icon. This application is staged on our bucket so that you can simply drop the drop down and click Clone, taking that application and cloning it to a package name on your prem or in your cloud. For instance, picking cloud here will allow you to change the cloud storage location. Simply type in AZ-S3GC and your path and choose your storage credentials, and that application will be duplicated to your environment. Now these applications, these Flex apps, are going to be delivered to Demo User 1 and Demo User 2, with the first rule being delivered to everybody. However, you could choose a filter and apply it to just those users that match that filter, or you can create a custom filter. For instance, this filter is Windows 7, 8, and 10. However, I could go in here and choose to make sure there's a certain registry value that exists first, or a certain file or directory that exists first, or doesn't exist if I wanted to do it that way, before the application is rolled out. I could make sure that they're on a certain connection type, a certain operating system. There's a number of different filters. There's over 300 filters that you can create that are all dynamic, and then the application or whatever the function is in Profile Unity will be executed based on the result of the filter. So let's go ahead and proceed to log into this Google hosted desktop. Profile Unity starts to run, initializing, chooses the configuration, processes the modules, pulling over the portability settings from the Google Cloud Storage, which is happening right now. While that's occurring, let's go ahead and log in as User 2. User 2, Profile Unity is initializing. Executing the configuration that we've chosen, Windows 7, 10, 2016 profile stored on Google Cloud Storage. Pulling over the portability settings right now from the Google Cloud Storage location. Go back to the first user. The first user is logged in. Desktop is up and going. One thing you can note is that this is exactly the user experience running Google Cloud Storage on Google Cloud Platform using Profile Unity and FlexApp with no sleight of the hands or cutting and pasting or splicing of a video. You can reference the clock on the bottom right hand side of your screen to confirm that. Let's go ahead and open up the Task Manager. Within the Task Manager, we're going to go ahead and look at the performance of the Ethernet adapter. The dark color is the receive, and if you notice, it's fairly idle right now. There's a few spikes here and there, but it's not really doing too much. I'm going to double click Google Chrome. You'll see there's a spike up to 9.1 megabytes per second. The application's been cached down. It's layered locally now onto the box. If I double click the application again, very small spike compared to the initial layering of the application. That's because the application's blocks again are cached down, locally available. Let's try this with a couple other applications that again don't exist on this box. Notepad++, double click it. You see the received spikes up a little bit. Not much. I mean, it's so low you can barely see it on there. Audacity, you double click it, spikes up a little bit, just about the same size as Notepad, which looks to be 4850 kilobits per second. As I continue on, if I were to go to the second user on this box, if I were to double click Google Chrome, that's already been layered on this box, so it's instantaneous. There is no caching the blocks local. Photoshop, however, not layered on this box, isolated from the other user. I double click it. Photoshop is now running on the box, like it's pretty much like it's natively installed, although it's being cached right now to the system locally and streamed. On subsequent user clicking this application, if they have rights, there'll be no caching of those blocks done. It would just open instantaneously. But that was a near instantaneous open as far as I'm concerned as well. So what you've seen is a demonstration of a Google Cloud hosted desktop using profiles and applications stored on Google Cloud Storage. No SMB shares, no clustering to deal with, no replication to deal with. Simple, easy way to scale. Simple, easy way to implement DR for an organization. This can be used with on-prem and cloud at the same time. You can use one management console to effect change across both platforms. And so the best way for you to get started with this would be to download the product yourself, give it a try on your Azure, on your Google, on your AWS cloud, and on your on-prem. And then you can construct the proper go-forward path for your customer if you're a consultant, or for your organizations if you're the end user. And we'll be glad to help you get started and kick this off on your own, so you can, again, plan your own destiny using our solution and managing across whichever platform you choose. So transformation in progress, right? Today, we transform the way organizations treat their most important resources. All of us do here. That gives your clients the ability to customize their user experience, to keep the good from that experience, to roll forward their investment, to leave the bad behind, right? The bad practices and the traditional ways that no longer work, or they don't work well. They become rigid and they become risky, right? We give them the ability to move to lower cost, better performing, or higher security platform, right? To minimize that risk. If you use the platform vendor's built-in solution, your client might come up short in many areas as they try to scale, and without essentials, it's a hard road to move to another platform in the future because, again, you get baked into that platform's monolithic management, of course. Only Liquidware can set the bar this high. We do this for physical, VDI, RDSH, DAS, and cloud. So let's take one last look at our transformation vision and some of the key points. We can harvest and deliver and manage your clients' most important resources, their most important assets at scale. Protect their investment in the user, application, data, policy, even if the compute resource becomes a service that they rent. We transform legacy processes, harvesting what your client wants, simplifying management, speeding problem recovery. We operate at scale during the churn of software upgrades and endpoint swap-outs. We deliver the best user experience available for all with consistency, security, and performance. We manage multiple delivery mechanisms centrally with no vendor lock-in. We treat the delivery mechanism as a commodity without losing the key investments. We take advantage of a competitive DAS market, if you'd like. We eliminate the image sprawl. We allow many levels and enable many levels of admin to participate again, cutting the red tape out like GPO management or complex image updates and dangerous image updates, really. We deliver visibility for more than just the network and the server teams, right, to the desktop team, back into where they can see what's going on. They've never really had the good tools, right? It's always been the network and the server teams that have had the good tools. We're delivering that visibility back to the desktop team. And we're allowing your clients to run anywhere and manage anywhere and have a desktop DR plan for any level of organization now, via Amazon S3, via Google GCS, via Microsoft Blob Storage. And we do all that now, available now. So that's all I have for you today. I'll be around for the next day and a half, and I'd love to be able to answer any questions and speak with you guys on a one-to-one opportunity. And I have got some demo lab I can connect to on my laptop, and we can take a look at some of the stuff in the cloud as soon as today. Thanks for your time.